Hello everybody, and welcome to another Team Top Deck testing video. I'm Zerda, and today we're going to be, that was just for the FNM challenge there, we're going to be running through a little bit more Team Iraq. We'll play one game of that, move on to a game of Orzhov, then do a bit of Izzet Blitz. Just giving you a bit of variety today, and let's go ahead and jump right on in. So please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what kind of decks you'd like to see on this channel in the future. Alright, so for this hand, we have a turn 3 Uro, turn 2 Growth Spiral, Shark Typhoon expansion. All we actually need is a Reclamation, and this hand is golden. All that in a red source eventually, but we don't need it quite yet. And we do have a bit of dig. And something a bit slower. There we go. I'll go ahead and fire off the Growth Spiral now. I don't want that getting countered. Just tapped. So I think I'm going to leave up Shark Typhoon for next turn in case they drop a Teferi. It's because I do not want to deal with having to fight through that. Sooner you get Teferi off the board, the sooner all of your cards come, online. But I don't feel, as I've explained in past videos, that it's too much of a problem for Reclamation because of Shark Typhoon. It's just a very powerful way to interact with Teferi. Oh, Black Source. And there we go. Now if they bounce their Omen, I'm going to be happy, but I imagine they'll be ticking up here. Yep.
Don't worry, I got this.
We'll go ahead and grab a mountain so that I have expansion explosion mana available. I also want to cycle this just to get the extra card. And I do have another one, so I don't feel like putting the Teferi to 2 and not killing it is too much of a big deal here. Alright. Gonna hit that.
Enough.
And I do believe I'm still gonna deploy my Wilderness Reclamation here. If they want to bounce it with Teferi, I'm completely alright with that. If they don't bounce it with Teferi, at least it's safe from things like, or if they do, then it's, I guess, vulnerable to things like Thought Erasure. But in that case, they won't be taking expansion or the second Sharknado. Oath of Kaya isn't too big of a problem. So I am debating on if I'm just going to charge up the Blast Zone to deal with both Teferi and the Oath,
That's more like
and I think I am here. Because I will find enough lands. Eventually this deck does have quite a few. There we go. And that is the sadly least color intensive option I have to play this. There we go. Putting a stop in my end step, so I'll still be able to, how do you put it, blow up the Teferi and the Oath there before they can draw off of it. And there we go. Blast Zone is another reason we're not too concerned with Teferi. Still not something we want to see, but it is something we can very much beat. Doom Foretold. And that is non-token, so I'm pretty sure we don't have any way to actually deal with that. That is unfortunate. I'm gonna go ahead and Growth Spiral, just in case there is something we can do and I'm just not aware of it. There's not. It looks like we're losing our Wilderness Reclamation. It's a lot worse of a turn than I'd been expecting. The cards in the yard. I do have enough cards to Uro, and I do kind of prefer to keep that around instead of just giving them the value. But I'm not entirely sure on that. Alright, so on top, having access to the temple there, Temple Scry, Omen of the Seas. Yeah, I think we want to try and dig, so we're going to want that. And I'm not going to go ahead and deploy the Uro. Let's just let them get their token. I'll cycle a Sharknado at end of turn. Probably discard the Scorching Dragonfire. I believe it makes me discard. Yep. That is non-token, right?
Right on schedule.
Alright. So, it's on 4. Suppose that changes things. I might just discard the Omen of the Sea. No, it's upkeep. Yeah. Well, no, I'm still going to draw it from the Shark Typhoon, so.
Trust me, I have a plan.
As long as our opponent keeps refusing to draw cards with their Teferi, I don't really mind. Yeah, I'll discard Omen of the Sea. Hit their Teferi.
I'm getting too old for this.
And the plan is here, Dragonfire into Uro. Suppose I should have Uro'd first, depending on what I drew. My plans might have changed. So that's 2 Teferis down. I'm feeling pretty confident about where we are right now. Need to get some wild cards to get that for the Orzhov deck. Because it can hit Planeswalkers, right? It can hit anything. Yeah. That's an unfortunate draw. Was hoping to fire off one of these expansion explosions early to try and get a little bit of card draw going and fuel up for the second one. So I don't really want to fire this one off for less than 3 now, and even that's not quite enough. That's 3 if I'm killing something relevant. Again, maybe I'll just be forced into it. Oh, doesn't look like I'll be given the option. Alright, so here... Not positive what I wanted to draw there. I'll pay the 2 life for that. Just plan to make a giant shark here. And also want to keep my options open. My life total is plenty high. Stop on the end step. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we will make an 8-8. And yes, that is a relevant speed up for the clock. Because here, these 2 alone will be able to help close out the game in 2 turns, whereas the Uro, if it gets to ferried or such, you know, that wouldn't be happening. They could just bounce the 8-8, but then I get to keep my Uro around a little longer. Khazrath is something I was concerned about, but I was also pretty sure it wasn't going to be... Oof. Alright, I'm pretty sure there's no way I have to put a permanent in that'll survive, so... I'll go ahead and pass here. The plan of either countering or drawing. Suppose I won't be countering, basically. Anything? Ugh. That's rough. I have no way to get it back anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and take the card advantage while I can still get it. And what I take here doesn't seem too relevant. I guess I'll take the land and the Dragonfire, as those seem the most likely to come up. Because they are taking the Reclamation. There's no way I was countering anything with the Mystical Dispute, especially if they, you know, saw it. I guess I could have made them play around it and maybe play off tempo a little, but I don't think that was going to necessarily come up. So here, unless something insane happens, let's see, how many explosions do I have left? 1. Alright. Yeah. I'd rather have the land to keep making my land drops and fuel a future explosion. See, green, green, blue, blue, and yeah, because I want to still have access to Castle Vantress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't have any graveyard interaction, so I'll just take the first 5 and not really waste time doing the exacts. Put in a Steam Vents. And I will shock in the Stomping Ground. so that I have mana to use my Castle Vantress. Opponent gets some scry action going. So I'm not sure what the worst thing that could happen to us here is, because I'm not really sure what's in our opponent's deck. I don't like them topping anything. Well, that was the worst thing that could have happened to us. Exiling the Uro, which is really the only action we had going, is not putting us in a great spot. If I had, say, negates or something in this deck, that would have been the time to cycle the Triome, but I do not, so I'm going to hold on to it for a turn I'm not scrying. Or even just right now. Alright, making sure it wasn't going to tap the Castle Vantress. Excellent. I'll have that come into play tapped and pass the turn. My plan currently is to not use the Shark Typhoon this turn, but to just use the Castle Vantress one more time, untap, have access to a little bit more mana before I go ahead and make the Shark. I want to hit them for as much as I can and present the fastest possible clock. And I don't think the one extra size, making it, 5/5 would have been enough. If they down tick the Teferi, I'll just make the Shark, though, because I can't allow them to continuously play and buy back their Elspeth Conquers Death. Actually, upon reflection of that statement, I think that's still wrong. I think I'd rather still try and present a very fast clock with the Shark Typhoon, especially because it's immune to their Elspeth Conquers Death. Cavalier of Dawn. Alright, I am on a 2-turn clock here. And I don't have them on a 2-turn clock. What would they get back if I killed their Cavalier? Probably a Doom Foretold, and I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, because if I play out the Uro... Yeah, so I'm just going to pass turn here. When they attack, I'll make a 9/9, and I'll use it to take out probably their 3/3 to avoid the Doom Foretold. No, I think I actually want to discard the Uro, so I'll give them the option to Doom Foretold me. Well, let's see exactly what goes on here. So I'll go ahead and I'll take out, yeah, because that's a 6, 12, 18. So yeah, I'd rather buy myself another turn in the event that this fails. But I suppose I don't with the Doom Foretold 2 damage. Do I? No, I still buy myself a turn. My math was right. It was hasty but correct. I'm gonna draw 3 cards. Envision our Shark is getting blown up. So here I'm going to double Uro, I believe. And because one of my best bets of winning here is just check if I want to shuffle anything back in. I definitely don't want to crack that fetch, then it'll put a lot more lands into my top cards. I'm going to kill the Teferi because I think my best bet of winning involves a Reclamation still. Take the Dragonfire.
Really should have seen that coming.
And here I will just deploy the Uro and allow them to deal with it if they can. Well, we know they can. But I am just going to deploy the Uro here, get a little deeper, try and dig towards that expansion that we're going to need to win the game. So all we need is to draw a, well, I say a, but I mean our last, I believe we have one at least, 1, 2, Wilderness Wreck. Yep, we have one Wilderness Reclamation left, and it is by far our best draw here. So I will not be cracking this unless we would be dead otherwise this turn. Going to go ahead and make sure that one, two, three, four, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Alright, so we're not going to scry on our upkeep. We won't have the mana to win if we do. And I don't want to just be dead to a second Oath of Kaya. So we're going to draw here. Not ideal. Pass the turn. We have one more turn. And we will be Scorching Dragon firing the Golem there. Tapping a little different than that. Allow them to take our Mystical Dispute. This does put them back in range of the expansion, I believe. No, they were back in range when we played the second mountain. So here we're scrying. I think we're keeping the Omen of the Sea because it will allow us to dig even deeper than if we just draw one card naturally. This is basically a 2 mana scry on upkeep as opposed to a more expensive one. The 5 mana from Castle Vantress. We will still be dead if we Storm's Wrath, downside of Red Wraths. And there you have it. Let's see if we would have been able to make it though, if we had one more turn. Just out of curiosity here. They did play a very tight game against us, and we were very, very outmatched by their removal and interaction. Apparently Doom Foretold is pretty good against us. Then again, I think it might have also been the good amount of discard, which I think in general is just a little underrepresented right now. Alright, so now we're going to go on to our much worse black-white deck than what they were playing. Is just to see what might need some improvements, what direction we might want to take the deck, feel out the meta, and a few black-white cards that I think are pretty strong here. I would say Orzhov, but I'm worried that with my drying out voice I will not pronounce it well, as I just did. Let's see. Now, I like this against not Gyruda. I'm not sure what we want against Gyruda, though. Oh, Kai's Wrath. That's what we want against Gyruda. So I'll keep this. Bin a Mortify. And tap land go. We will deploy our Blood Operative as soon as we can to deal a little bit of damage, but here we're just really trying to clean up whatever they do with the Wrath. That's right. Enters tapped. I'm not above Merciless acting the Paradise Druid if they use it this turn. I stand corrected. I'm not above using it on that Mothra. Alright, so I have to imagine that with the Charming Prince they're going to find the land for next turn, meaning we really need to find our land for next turn. Alright, so I'm going to respond to Gyruda with a Mortify on it, because now, if they hit a clone, it doesn't do anything. Alright, they didn't hit anything from us, so they only get... Oh, I didn't see that. Thought that I saw a Thassa. Alright, well. Pretty sure we're going to lose here. Alright. And that is game. We're gonna play one more with this deck, just to see if we can get it to behave. I do believe we're playing 25 lands, so a 3-land hand like that isn't something that we should be looking to mull because we need more. Gonna make sure, because I've had mana problems with just hitting numbers consistently. 25. And yeah, we're pretty evenly split other than the Cavalier requiring a little bit of extreme white mana requirements. But earlier on we have more black, so this looks about right. Except, you know, low on Temple of Silences. Gonna do one more game, see if we can get an actual feel for it and what's going on like we did with the Rec deck there. Alright, so here I'm a lot more comfortable with this hand. Gonna lead on Fabled Passage for Swamp to get Blood Operative mana by 3 if we need it. I doubt we're going to, but keep your options open. You might also just want to force them into wrathing instead of anything else they might otherwise be doing. I don't have early double white play, so I'll play the second swamp there to give them less information. And here we're going to play out of plains. And we are going to drop the Blood Operative here. We will decline that, of course. We're just using it to apply pressure. Teferi is completely fine.
Show remorse. I'll show restraint.
So here we prevented them from continuing the uptick, even though they do like to downtick that Teferi in fires. Deploy a Bell Haunt. Get a card out of their hand, get a little bit of life. Not that it's the most relevant matchup for that second factor. And if they don't deploy something here, we'll be able to take out their Teferi. It's looking promising. Play out the land. I don't think that they play Quench and any flash creatures, but we do want that Teferi dead. No, we couldn't even do that anyway. It's playing around situations that couldn't happen and were incredibly unlikely. Never fall into that trap. Remember cards and what they do. Probably won't cost us anything here, but you never know when it will come up that you should have concealed the information of your land drop a little longer than you did. Because now, before they might have tried to kill this, not knowing that I have a Blast Zone to also deal with the Teferi. And here they might be changing that plan and that resource could come back to bite me. Seems like that is not the case, and I am fine with letting the Teferi live one more turn, because it's not a resource that... Instant speed play isn't exactly one of my resources. Whereas cards are, so I will take what I can get from my card advantage and use it. Fortunately, they've only discarded cards that aren't exactly good against them. And I really like that card for the Fires deck. Lets them cycle early, and once they have a Fires down, it's just a, like all of their spells, 0 mana, and in this case, draw 4. Alright, so they have a second... Or no, I was thinking they already had Fires down. I'm too used to them always having it. So we're not going to take much here from... Oh. That's interesting. That makes me kind of tempted to just deploy the Liliana and downtick. But that leaves her vulnerable to the Brazen Borrower on a future turn. So I think instead I'm going to stick with my original plan, and I'm going to go ahead and mortify the... Let me see. I'm going to start with Blood Operative, then I'm going to mortify the Cavalier. No reason to take the damage, so I won't. And I will take out Teferi. Worthwhile to note that they have discarded 2 Deafening Clarions, so I'm not exactly concerned that this will be blown up. And now I'm just going to deploy Liliana and uptick her. I feel like my creatures are safe here. No attack. I don't feel like I'm going to get my Bell Haunt blown up in a way that their Cavalier survives. I suppose I could give some consideration to Fires, Kennerith, Land, Pump, Trample. but I don't think that's incredibly likely. And here I'll be protecting my Lily with the minimum number of blocks so that these Kaya's Wraths will gain me the most life. This deck can put out a lot of damage very quickly, and I should always try and be aware of that. Alright. Ooh. Well, I still draw 3 cards. And what do you know it? Deafening Clarion still came into play there. No lands. 2 lands in the yard. Alright, Lily will survive that. Let's see. And each Planeswalker. And they do have 3 lands. Well, I'm definitely upticking.
Rise and shine.
Gonna Agonizing Remorse to see what's going on. I'll take their Teferi.
Only time will tell.
It is the most annoying card they have, and it does draw them cards. Play a tap land. And pass the turn. This way I'm leaving up Heartless Act. I'm leaving up the ability to... There we go. Alright, so I was hoping that I'd get to keep the Lily around until I drew a card from this zombie. But that is not the case. I don't think they would just deploy. So I'm going to go ahead and actually answer the Cavalier of Thorns, or Flames. Thorns is the green one that I'm usually concerned about from the Elemental deck, but I suppose it's been a while since that was the more common Cavalier. So they have an interesting choice, I was going to say, between deploying one of those threats and the Karuga to draw a card. In the end, I think they made the correct decision. Here I'm going to deploy my Ethereal Absolution, completely shutting off Brazen Borrower, and also putting me in a pretty domineering spot as far as attackers go. And I will take the offensive here, because things are going to start swinging in my direction very soon. A permanent with the Zealous Persecution ability is fairly strong. I will attack again. So it's only 4 mana. So I have all of my mana currently tied up in killing both of those Bone Crusher Giants via token generation. It's not only it's a sorcery, right? I think actually I'm going to let that resolve, and with the trigger on the stack, mortify it. Oh, for a second I was worried that I misclicked onto the Ethereal Absolution. That would have been quite disastrous. So here I'm only going to get to kill 1 Bone Crusher Giant, but I'm honestly fine with that. So here I'll exile their Cavalier. I make a 1/1, it becomes a 2/2. And I have a creature in the yard to make my next token. So I don't think they have much choice in the continued attacking that they're doing right now. Except for next turn, obviously. This turn they obviously have to stop that. Or, no, I guess they're trying to offer the trade. Which to me says, well, pre-Cavalier Flames, it said that I should potentially just ignore that and make tokens to attack them instead. Post-Cavalier, it's telling me a little bit of a different story. And that story is that I'm going to make 2 tokens and kill their Cavalier Flames. And then take a fair amount of damage from the trigger. Normally it would tell me. 3, 4, 5. Oh, only 5. 5 is not enough damage for me to mind. Another land. Attack again. End our turn here. Now with our life total getting low, I am going to create a token to block the Bone Crusher, even though I wasn't before, because they are actually in a pretty good position in the race now. Alright, I stand corrected. I'm going to make 2 tokens and block and kill the Kenrith? Or do I make... Yeah, I make 1 token, block the Bone Crusher, and I create another token, attack, and then Kaya's Wrath on my turn, gaining myself a little bit of life back. Especially because they are running out of creatures. Let's see, does that put me dead to a Bone Crusher in hand, actually? It does. So to me, that means it's time to Ethereal Absolution again. Because it's fairly likely that I would just be dead otherwise. No. Go ahead and fetch out a land here. Should probably get Castle Ardenvale for this deck as well. Trade off our token, or our creatures, gain a life. Pass the turn on over to them. And I think we're going to go ahead and put this on 5, or tick it up towards 5, because those are their scariest creatures. So for now, I can only bring it up to 4. Notably not putting it on 6, no matter what they have in their deck. Huh. I suppose that's pretty good right now. It deals with their creature, turns it into a groundling. Takes away their upkeep scry. and our creature can deal with it, so completely fine with that. They only get one unstep scry. It'd be nice if we'd had a dead Ethereal Absolution, something to get back with our Cavalier. One top, one bottom. I imagine that means there's a Kenrith on top. No. Cavalier Flame. Still scary. But completely beatable. We can just I don't think we even need to exile a land, because we don't really need to kill it. We can just throw a chumper in front of it and block there with the Cavalier of Dawn. Attack them back for 5. Wrath afterwards. Lose a decent amount of life in that exchange, though. Alright, so they're not even attacking here. So to me, that means I'm going to start. Oh no, this makes flyers. How many creatures are left? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead. Make a flyer. Hit them in the air. Deploy Seraph of the Scales. And we have them dead. Of course, beating fires when they don't draw fires and get to do whatever they want to you as quickly as they want isn't the best accomplishment, but it's not nothing. We did manage to outgrind quite a few things from them. An Ethereal Absolution really showing its power here. It's a card they can't even play if they wanted to. All of our threats are absolutely gigantic. All of theirs are fairly minuscule. And best of all, we've created a literal army of tokens. Alright, so here's where I'm gonna... Oh, I suppose I'm not gonna pay for not having left mana open. And there's the game. Alright, so let's finish up with this mid-range slog and go into something a little faster. Ooh, prize pack. I'll open that at the end of the video. So, let's jump right on in to some Izzet Blitz. These games should be quite a bit faster, win or lose, than what we've played up to now. So, you can feel free to, well, I'd say unfasten your seatbelts, but we are about to accelerate. We do plan to maximize our velocity. Opponent on the play, that is fine. Turn 2 Sprite Dragon. Turn 3 Winged Words Opt or Cathartic Reunion. This is a very good hand. Gonna lead on the Blood Crypt, no reason not to play it. It can confuse our opponent as to what we're playing, because if you saw turn 1 tap Blood Crypt, you would not be thinking Sprite Dragon on 2. Ooh. Now I'm thinking I might not want to play Sprite Dragon on 2 just to lose it to that, but now we do have to keep up this race. And we can grow our creature by more than 1 point of power a turn. Although, that might mean that we're just going to lose our dude. So here's a land. I'll go ahead and Winged Words here. cast my opt. Do not want. I'll attack. So our best bet would definitely be a Phoenix. Reason I was attacking there is they do have the ability to just get rid of this as a blocker if they don't want it there. And again, that is quite the play. So here I'm not sure we have any outs actually. No? Do we have anything that we can do in time? Which means killing the Dreadhorde Butcher before it hits us again. It does involve multiple cards. And I do believe that they must be red. Let's see. So I think our out... Is it just getting multiple Phoenixes doesn't help us. It involves a shock and a cathartic. So, as much as I'd love to just fire off the cathartic now, we do need to find those drakes. Or not drakes, there's one piece of the puzzle. So this needs to be a Phoenix. I know it was opt, shock, and, so it had to be there. Does that change? If I can draw... There's no way I can draw two Phoenixes off of this. I was looking for an out so hard that there's just no way. And they have game on us because we don't have a way to deal with the Dreadhorde and they'll just sack it anyway, so let's move on to the next game. That claim, the Firstborn there, really hurt our chances of getting that game. I think we were okay to race as long as they didn't have a way to deal with our wee dragon there. And if they did, they would likely have used the Dreadhorde, which would have been fine by us because it was the biggest threat by far that they had. So that had been our plan there. I'm fine with this. I'll Cathartic away, maximize and raking, which isn't the thing that makes me the happiest in the world, but when you have to, you have to. Lead on a Fabled Passage there. I believe I'll be finding a mountain. There we go. Depending on what we draw is what we will Cathartic. Temple of Silence could mean plenty of different things. So, here I think I'm actually tempted to just pass. Because if they play a Priest of the Forgotten Gods, if they're, say, that kind of Temple of Silence deck, I will want to answer it. They are not. It's fine by me. Here, if I still have it in my hand, I'll go ahead and cycle the Raking Claws. Now that they know about it, it is a lot worse. And they took the Cathartic Reunion. They have some removal, and they don't mind our card advantage then. That did hurt, I will admit. Hadn't considered them just remorsing us there. Kaya. Oh, this is looking ugly. This Drake is going to be very wee. Opponent's doing to us what we were trying to do to other people. So it's important when you see somebody doing the same thing you're trying to do in another deck in a matchup that you pay attention, see if you can find any useful ideas. I don't think it's very productive here to just play out the Crackling Drake, likely just have it die. Castle Lockwayne is something I'm also saving up my wild cards for. Alright, so here we're losing the Drake, as betting on the odds of them not having the second one, given, you know, only up to 4. Already used one, but it was something to be aware of, and potentially was better to just not risk. So here, I'm going to discard 2 lands, so I'm not really in the market for them here. And I'll go ahead and discard another land. Maybe it should have been the Flame Sweep, but I was considering the options of, you know, dealing with the tokens, as forgetting the name of the card there.
Bravo.
Go. So as long as we tap correctly here, we will be able to kill the Kaya. And would have even threw a removal spell there. There we go.
Whoa, that one actually got through.
Now, I'm going to maximize my Sprite Dragon instead to try and conserve the extra damage from the shock. Just making sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct. There we go. I want to conserve the extra 1 point. It could always be relevant later. Also, shock is more versatile, and maximize will still technically be castable from the yard, as long as they don't have another Kaya. Let's go ahead and opt here. Thrills aren't exactly what I'm looking for, so bottom that. Pitch Steam Vents. Play the Fabled Passage. No. Oh yes, that's right. Exile does not actually affect Crackling Drake's power. So we'll discard our Flame Sweep. I am entirely fine with them casting a second Treacherous Blessing. That is a nice combo though there. The little, they can get rid of their Treacherous Blessings to their Doom Foretold to keep it around. Grab an island. I won't shock. That's not what I was trying to do. Well, bad plays all around here. I'm gonna go ahead and mute the opponent, who is a little trollish. As you can see, this would have been a very, very good turn if it wasn't for that terrible, terrible play. So here our opponent has all of their mana available. They're about to destroy one of their Treacherous Blessings. So yeah, I think Treacherous Blessing is what our deck is missing. I'm gonna go ahead and deploy our Sprite Dragon here instead. and try and get a little more damage in with the Crackling Drake when we finally do get to. So, just to preserve Cathartic Reunion as a draw, I'm not going to play a land this turn. We are worried about Akaya coming down and exiling our velocity here. Here goes our Sprite Dragon. So we will still be alive, but are dead to Akaya's Wrath. Or Oath of Kaya. Trying to imagine if there's a better way to play this right now. There is the Maximize we wanted. Or the Cathartic we wanted, I should say. Here I'll be discarding the Steam Vents. It is the land least likely to come into play for us. We are also worried about removal, but yeah, I don't think we could have played it out any earlier and been in a better spot. Opt. That will help us find our Phoenixes and bring them back for next turn, which is something we very much want to do. Actually, what am I doing? We are in fact dead here because we don't have a creature to sacrifice. It's 4, 5, 6, and then we'll lose 2 life to the Doom Foretold. The reason we were not deploying the dragon earlier was I felt it was the best shot we had at actually ending our opponent, was getting it as big as possible before bringing it out. Could have been wrong. Maybe this right dragon could have got there post, but we could see it wouldn't have. But either way, I still feel that was the correct line there. So on the play, Sprite Dragon. This is very spell light, so I do feel this is a risky hand, but it has incredibly high potential with double Sprite Dragon on the play. I do think I'm going to lead on Fabled Passage, actually. Our opponent minimum isn't a Lurrus deck, so I'm not too worried. Oof, this might be Wreck. This also might be Gruul Fires, but I think they play a companion. Grab Mountain, Island, Sprite Dragon. Alright, so it looks like we're going to lose our Sprite Dragon here. Which to me says that I should play out the Temple next and try and have our next threat be Crackling Drake. Unless... Actually... Because I was thinking I didn't want it without a counter on it, but I still want to just deploy Sprite Dragon, hit them for 1. Play out the Temple, try and find some spells. And there's the real power of the temples. If those were a guild gate or a lifeland, we would be forced to draw that. And, you know, having half an opt, even if it is the bad half of the opt, or at least the less good, isn't the best, but hey, it's still better than not having it, right? I am somewhat tempted to just play Arclight Phoenix and swing here. My problem being it does make us take 2 damage, but I think that's fine. Alternatively, I could drop the Crackling Drake, but I feel like we're not in a terrible position. We just need more spells. Because say we draw 1 more spell, then next turn we shock them, play the other spell, and we have them dead the turn after that if they can't deal with what we have. And if they kill the Phoenix, it can come back anyway. As it is, Phoenix kills them in 4 turns. We're just trying to put our opponent on the fastest clock possible. Reduce their life as efficiently as possible. And Drake being 0 power doesn't do that quite yet. It might help us find things, but... Oof. Oh. That'll kill us quick. I think we have the faster clock, though. Because they kill us in 3, and now they do. Alright, and I believe now we do. Things are changing fast. So let's see. Sprite Dragon, I'd have 5, put them on 2 turn, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so I have them dead next turn if they don't have anything. And they have to deal with both of our creatures. So let's see. If they have an Embercleave, that doesn't quite do it. Does it? That's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, if they have an Embercleave, we're dead, but other than that, I think we're golden. An attack with ult does tell me it's an Embercleave, though. Yep. Alright, so there, I could have been more cognizant of the Embercleave possibility. The Domri's Ambush should have told me it's definitely a more aggressive Gruul deck, but it probably does play it. And no. Nothing in their play pattern told me that they definitely had it in hand, and I think giving them the least amount of turns to try and find it is the best option, because they would eventually draw it anyway. And we don't get better against Embercleave as time goes on. I don't think anybody does, actually, unless they're drawing an absurd amount of cards. On the play, we have Cathartic Reunion, which makes me want to keep this hand a lot, because I can discard dud Flame Sweeps if they end up being so. And after this, I think I'm only going to play one more game tonight, and then I will post you a new video tomorrow. So once again, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel out a lot, and I do enjoy responding to all of your comments. I think for my next video, I'm going to start reading out comments for videos before it. Basically just whatever was commented on the last video, I'll read during my next video. Just get a little bit of interactivity there. So let's see. Playing an Opt here. Exactly what we're looking for is a land. Now if I play the Blood Crypt, they'll definitely know something Controlly is up, and it might make them deploy creatures less aggressively. Whereas what we really want them to do is play as many as they can into these Flame Sweeps. Right, so there goes the land. I'm fine with that. And here I'm going to Flame Sweep at the beginning of their combat before attackers. I take back everything I said. I'm doing it now before they get tokens. And how concerned am I of what they might do? I'm just going to go ahead, pay 2 life, not a thing I like doing against mono red, but getting out this Crackling Drake does seem to be top priority. Cathartic Reunion notably can pump this by 3. Okay. Phoenix, 10 Street Dodger. Do we take the 5? I don't think that's a winning strategy. So, here, my plan does involve using the Flame Sweep. They will have the cards, I believe, to escape this, though. That's so good for mono red. how easily recursable it is. Alright, so I have to assume they'll also be able to pump this back up to 5. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm gonna Cathartic here and just hope to hit a land for my Flame Sweep. Could also double maximize. Bring back Phoenix, which I can use as a blocker. And I think that's better, because now I get to attack with my 8/6 and have a 3/2 that I can attempt to bring back next turn to block their Annex. I think they 100% have Embercleave here, otherwise I believe they would have blocked with their Phoenix of Ash and brought it back. Then again, they could just have another Phoenix of Ash. Pretty sure that's an Embercleave though. Pester their cat while I wait for them to actually cast it. Or are they going to use this thing's ability? No? Alright. Now here, if they don't have it, I think we're in very, very good shape. Because we get to untap, Flame Sweep, clear their board completely. Do I get greedy though? I don't believe I do. I'm in too good of a position otherwise. Now mind, they can bring that back actually, so I think I should have. They can't bring back both though. That'll only be 4. Any haste creature kills me. I think we have the late game set up better than they do. So I'm gonna go ahead and just look for more Phoenixes. And no attack here. So what I should have done is that during their combat, then again maybe not because of Embercleave, but I think that was correct because it does no, beginning of combat, pre-attackers is when I should have 100% done that. It plays around them having Embercleave, and it plays around them being able to bring it back pre-combat still. I'm gonna go ahead and Winged Words before Sprite Dragon in the hope. Didn't pan out, but was hoping there that I could hit some Phoenixes and try and bring them back this turn. Another Crackling Drake is fine by me. No attackers here. Just trying to stay alive as long as I can until I can completely take over the game. Alright, so here, how many cards are in their yard? Only 2. We will go ahead and trade. There we go. So pre-Crackling Drake, I am going to Cathartic. No, because I could draw more off the Drake, so I'll just deploy this. No rush here. Cast our Discovery. And we will be attacking with Sprite Dragon this turn. Don't need another Sprite Dragon. Actually, let's see. No, we do not need the Sprite Dragon. We do not need the Shock. Just looking for Phoenixes. Play this and continue to search. Winged Words is fine, as is hitting them for 2. It's important to note that I did forget about the pump. That means that maybe I should have been a little more aggressive with my Drake. Now it means I had to be even more cautious. I was thinking to beat the Embercleave, but I would just lose to the ability itself instead. Steamkin is fine. And that is, as they correctly identified, game. So important there to see that this deck is capable of playing the long game, which I need to be better of identifying exactly when that is instead of always trying to go all in. I've said it can play the long game a few times before, but I've never really, tried to display that. Just bear in mind that a lot of our cards do have card advantage inherent in them. Crackling Drake draws you a card, Arclight Phoenix comes back from the graveyard, those are both card advantage, and you can treat them as such. This being a Lurrus deck, as long as it's a Cat Oven, this is fairly good for Flame Sweep. Otherwise, on the draw, Flame Sweep can be too slow against cycling. But with the Discovery Dispersal and a good hand of threats that I just need to find a Cathartic for, I think I'm fine. And I think that we're in trouble here. Basic Plains Go from a Lurrus deck does not seem very indicative of it being Cat Oven. Yep, it is cycling. Alright, let's see what our opponent is going to do. Fox. Alright. So here our best draw by far would be a Shock to deal with that Fox. Just, this thing can grow completely ridiculously out of proportion. It's kind of like our own Sprite Dragon, except all the spells in this deck pump it for 1 mana. And it can draw cards, and it comes down a turn sooner. The cards surrounding it aren't quite as good, but it itself is absolutely superb. And it does come with a burn spell that is basically a one-shot Crackling Drake with haste. So here I am looking for an island. I have 2 red sources. And I'm going to Shock here for Discovery, because I do need to find answers fast, or threats fast. Raking Claws, definitely don't want the Crackling Drake. I don't think deploying a huge threat in Raking Closet will actually be fast enough. Normally I'd consider that an out when I need to put on a lot of pressure quickly, but that's more if situations change in the mid-game than sculpting in the early game. So I'm going to go ahead and bin both of those. Alright, that's a little more of what we're looking for. Something to pitch the Phoenix. Hopefully we can bring it back soon and start drawing some cards off of it. Now I'm hoping beyond hope they don't have anything to cycle here. They do. So I'm going to... Here, I am tempted to just Thrill of Possibility and pass, but that would mean we take 4 more damage. I do think that is, as sad as this is, the best chance we have at winning here, though, is holding on as long as we can to that Flame Sweep to catch. If they play another Valiant Rescuer, we want to catch both of them with our Flame Sweep, not just the one currently deployed. Looks like that won't be a problem, and we're taking little damage unnecessarily, but if it had come up, it would have meant the end of us, so we did play for the worst case scenario. Maybe the scenario was already so bad that we couldn't afford to do that, though, which I think it was. Any way to bring back potential multiple Phoenixes this turn? Bring back 1. I don't think we can bring back 2. Let's find out. Important to note, this is only for Discovery Dispersal's back half, so no need to be conservative with it here. We're still going to want that Flame Sweep at some point. Let's get rid of our Maximize and one of our Drakes. And we do not draw a way to survive this. If we'd drawn a Drake, we could have discarded, killed the Valiant, and put the Drake in front. But we did not draw that, so our opponent has it here. I think the mistake I made was I was a little too conservative, otherwise we had a chance, although not a great one, at one more turn. So here I'm just going to go ahead and play one more game with Izzet Blitz, and that will wrap it up for the video. I think I'm going to have to go through and redesign our more all-in aggressive build here. I think the meta's moved on past where what we're currently doing is the best, and we're going to need to adapt to the times. Find a mountain off of this Fabled Passage, just so we have an untapped red source and an untapped blue source next turn. Note, our opponent is Gigan. I did keep this despite that, knowing they play a lot of mana dorks and I should be able to slow them down by a turn. Deploy a Drake and then be fine. That was a mistake. I should have let them scry. Now they're going to know I'm a little more aggressive, although this could confuse them into thinking I am some form of cat oven deck and get them to keep things they would not otherwise find optimal. So here I'm going to drop our own temple, because that'll come in untapped. I think I want that Discovery Dispersal. There is some potential that it will allow us to bounce a Gyruda the turn they play it if we delay them a turn. So it's looking like they have a more optimal curve out here. So here, yeah, because next turn I'm assuming that they're going to just play the Ramp by 2 spell. It looks like they might be an older version. No, it's too early to say that, but I do think the lack of a turn 2 dork does mean I just need to keep digging. I'll take the Sprite Dragon, bin the Cathartic, play the Fabled Passage because there's no reason not to. Suppose other than representing a Stubborn Denial, not Stubborn Denial, that card hasn't been in standard for a while, Mystical Dispute, and going from there, but I doubt there's anything that I'd be able to Mystical Dispute they want to play this turn anyway. And just deploying the Drake for our turn is likely our best bet. Alright, so they missed a land drop. That means I'm going to Flame Sweep on our turn, as I do believe it will be the most effective use of our mana. I'll grab a mountain. Most of what we want here is going to be, you know, red-based for card draw. As far as cycling through our deck, we do need more red. Is something I've discovered is, in fact, true. Before I was more prone to go even, but now if I have to have one more of one than another, I will lean red. Here we go, resolve. So they are 1 mana off their Gyruda. Now, there is also some concern given here to if they mill a... no, if I had another land, I'd consider if they hit the maximized velocity, or if we drew it to just play the Sprite Dragon. But here, I think I'd rather play the Crackling Drake. And now if they play that, they have a chance to mill. Ooh. Alright. Let's go deep. Start with a Winged Words. Not yet deploying, notably, the Sprite Dragon, because it's not part of the current plan, they don't have any removal for us, and we're able to just keep digging for more powerful plays, and we only really need one Crackling Drake to kill them. I'm going to shock them, maximize damage, put them on a 3-turn clock. Might be able to get even lower next turn. Alright, so if they get a flyer, I guarantee you they're going to bring it back because they can see this is already likely going to kill them. They play one from their hand instead. 4 lands for us, but another shot at it for them. A little sad we didn't hit any spells, but can't be too disappointed because their hits weren't the best either. Here's the Thassa to give them another look. Now they did hit a flyer from us, but they also, yep, hit the Spark Bubble, which I think is the death of them. 8. Yep, and that's our game. They never like to play it safe, Garuda players. And they can see the writing on the wall as the spell resolves into the yard. That is 10 power, and that is game. Alright, so next time I'm going to try and build up a slightly varied version of our current, where is it? Is it Blitz deck? I think that Flyers deck is just not good enough. I don't think you'll be seeing that one, unfortunately. Because right now we are very all in. I think our next iteration will be a little more controlling. Maybe I'll just build the best of 3 version and show you guys how it transitions, because I do believe it's a little better in the best of 3 meta. But I might just build this in its slightly more controlling variant, still keeping this deck itself budget. Once again, the black sources are completely unnecessary. I just find the mana's good enough and I already have them that I should play them. And occasionally you'll get the back half of Discovery Dispersal and have it be relevant. Other times, this is really just only there for Discovery. It's a 2 mana preordained that's a little better and can mill over your Phoenixes. But that is it for today's video, so I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a comment below to tell me what you'll want to play next time, and have a wonderful day.